Have you ever wondered why two people, born in the same neighborhood, attending the same school, and raised under similar conditions, end up with lives that are miles apart? One becomes wealthy, influential, and respected, while the other struggles with bills, frustration, and quiet desperation. It's not luck, it's not talent, and no, it's not even education. It comes down to one decision: the decision to take full, brutal responsibility for everything in your life, or to keep blaming the world for your circumstances. You see, most people are sleepwalking. They wait for things to happen. They react. They blame their parents, the government, their spouse, the economy, even fate itself. These are the people who remain miserable. But then there's the other kind, the few who choose to stand up one day and say, "This is on me. Everything. My life is my responsibility." That's the moment the rich mindset is born. Wealth isn't about money. It's a mindset. It's about control. Control over your time, your emotions, your decisions. And that control, it only begins when you make the decision to stop outsourcing your life to excuses. Let me take you back. There was a man I once knew, not a celebrity, not someone you've read about. But what he did with this one decision changed everything. He was broke, unlucky, depressed, but he made a quiet vow: no more blaming, only building. And what followed was a storm of transformation that no one saw coming. At first, nothing changed. There were no miracles, no signs from the sky, no sudden inflow of money, just silence. But inside his mind, the war had already begun. You see, the richest people on this planet are not those who had the best opportunities. They are the ones who fought the silent wars in their own heads and won. Every day, this man woke up and chose discipline over distraction. He began treating his time like it was more precious than gold, because it is. He stopped chasing temporary pleasures. No more endless scrolling. No more blaming others. No more living like a victim. Instead, he started asking one question every morning: what can I do today that will make me stronger tomorrow? And here's the secret most people never understand. Misery doesn't come from lack of money. It comes from lack of meaning. From waking up and realizing your life is not your own. That you're reacting to a world instead of building one. He didn't have $1 million idea. He had a $10 mindset and $1 million worth of consistency. He read while others slept. He built skills while others partied. He failed, learned, and failed again while others avoided discomfort like a disease. Most people want the result, but not the responsibility. They want the wealth without the weight of earning it. But here's a bitter truth. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. This man began proving himself not to others, but to the mirror. He made himself undeniable, and slowly, silently, the world began to notice. Not because he shouted, not because he begged, but because power, real power, never needs to announce itself. Now here's the twist you didn't expect. The same people who laughed at him started asking him for advice. The same ones who said he was wasting his time started wondering how he did it. But by then, it was too late for them. Because the one decision they never made, he made every single day. By year 3, he had built something few people ever taste in their lifetime: momentum. And let me tell you something about momentum. Once it starts rolling, it becomes harder to stop than it was to start. But most people, they never even push the first brick. They wait for permission. They wait for signs. They wait for someone to come and say, "You are chosen." But he learned early, no one is coming. There is no chosen one, only the one who chooses himself. He didn't hustle for 14 hours a day because he loved the grind. He did it because every hour he gave to his future was an hour stolen back from a system designed to keep him average. Let's pause here, and I want you to really think. If someone followed you every minute of your day for the last 6 months, would they be convinced you're building a wealthy future or surviving a miserable one? That one decision, the decision to take control, shows up in invisible ways. It shows in the way you say no to cheap dopamine. It shows in how you protect your energy from energy vampires. It shows in your calendar, in your bank account, in your mental peace. People want to be rich, but they don't want to be uncomfortable. They want emotional stability, but they feed on chaos. They say they want freedom, but every decision they make is a leash. This man wasn't lucky. He was strategic. He said no to 99 things so he could say yes to one thing, his vision. And let me tell you what happens when you make that kind of decision with your full chest. The universe stops ignoring you. Opportunities that were once blind to your presence suddenly start calling your name. People treat you differently. You walk into rooms and the energy shifts, not because you changed the room, but because you changed yourself. Here's the scary part. Most people are one decision away from a completely different life, and they will die never making it. This man made it. Not once, but every day. Not loud, but real. And that one choice, repeated thousands of times, turned his life into something extraordinary, not just in money, but in meaning. And now, just when you think that was the peak, wait until you hear what came next. Because this story, it's just warming up. Year 4 came with something unexpected. Silence, no applause, no validation, just the sound of routine, repetition, and relentless focus. See, this is the part no one talks about. The middle. The grind after the excitement dies and before the reward arrives. The world calls it boring, but he knew. This was the price of greatness. Real wealth doesn't scream. It whispers. It builds slowly while no one is watching. It compounds when no one believes in you, not even you. Every day he made the same choice. Do the hard thing. Say no to shortcuts. Say no to drama. Say no to things that look like progress, but are just clever distractions in disguise. He lost friends. He gained enemies. And still, he kept building. Because by now his mind was trained like a weapon. Discipline was his oxygen. And you know the funny part? He didn't even need motivation anymore. He had become the kind of man who did what needed to be done, whether he felt like it or not. Ask yourself this right now. If life got quiet, no praise, no wins, no results, would you still show up? Or are you addicted to applause? Most people don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they can't sit in silence long enough to become something real. He understood this. And that's why, when the world finally caught up to him, when the results began to overflow, when success finally knocked at his door, he didn't flinch. Because by then, he had already outgrown the version of himself who needed proof. He had become undeniable. And here's the twist most people never see coming. Once you reach that level, wealth isn't even the reward. The real reward is the person you became in the process. Calm under pressure, sharp in chaos, focused while the world is distracted. He became the kind of man who could lose it all and rebuild faster than most people could dream it up. Because once you learn how to build, you stop fearing loss, you stop begging, you stop being owned by anything or anyone. And just when everything seems stable, comfortable, set, he made one more decision, the kind that changes everything all over again. Get ready. The final part will change the way you see your future. He stood at the peak. Everything he once dreamed of, it was his now. The money, the freedom, the respect. He could stop. He could finally breathe. But he didn't, because comfort wasn't the goal. It never was. He looked around at the world, people chasing likes, chasing status, buying things to impress people who weren't even watching. And he realized something disturbing. Most people don't want to be rich. They want to look rich. They don't want freedom. They want attention. And that's the virus destroying lives in silence, confusing noise with meaning, mistaking popularity for power. But here's the truth. He learned the hard way. Money solves problems, but identity solves everything. If you become the person who does what's right, regardless of opinion, regardless of setbacks, regardless of what's trending, you don't just get rich, you get untouchable. And so he made his final decision. He would spend the rest of his life doing one thing, building people. Because real wealth is not just how much you make, it's how many lives get better because you existed. Now, here's where you come in. You've been listening. You've been nodding. Maybe even relating. But none of this matters unless you act. Right now, in this very moment, you are standing at the fork in the road. To the left, comfort, excuses, distractions. To the right, discomfort, discipline, growth. And let me be clear, one decision is all it takes. Not a lucky break, not a secret shortcut, just a clear, brutal decision that you will not live like everyone else. You either become the type of person who shows up every single day, who gets better in silence, who plays the long game, or you join the billions of souls who quietly settle for less and call it destiny. And make no mistake, if you don't choose your path, the world will choose it for you, and it rarely chooses in your favor. So ask yourself, not 5 years from now, not next week, right now, will you keep waiting for permission? Or will this be the moment that everything changes? Because the truth is harsh. Not everyone becomes rich, but anyone can become miserable. And it all begins with just one decision.